So in today's video, I'm going to be interviewing the authors that wrote this book right here, 100 Things to Do in the South Carolina Lowcountry Before You Die. So if you're thinking about moving here from some other place like New York, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, California, and you want to know all the ways to experience the best of the South Carolina Lowcountry, then don't go anywhere because we're getting after it right now. Do you want to know everything there is to know about the South Carolina Lowcountry, whether it's Bluffton, Beaufort, Hilton Head Island, or Jasper County? Then subscribe below and tap that bell for notifications so you'll know every time we put out a new video. My name is David Simcox, host of this channel and a local real estate agent. I get calls and emails every day from people just like you looking to make their move here, and I absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 3 days, 3 months, or heck, even 3 years, give me a call, send me an email, shoot me a text, or you can always book a Zoom call by going to lowcountrylifestylesteam.com. Now, we are going to jump right into 100 things to do in the South Carolina Lowcountry before you die. Thank you so much for jumping on the channel, jumping on this show, and I can't wait to share this experience with our viewer here. And so it's Cele and Lynn, and last name is Seldon, yep. And you guys wrote a book called 100 Things to Do in the South Carolina Lowcountry Before You Die. And so I thought this would be a really amazing interview because a lot of the people watching this channel, they're from New York, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, California, even as far away as Japan. And they're looking at the South Carolina Lowcountry, and a lot of them want to know what is there to do and see here in the South Carolina Lowcountry. And a lot of the people that watch the channel maybe have already moved here, but they're in their first year. So it could be a really handy tool. So thank you first and foremost for being on.
Our pleasure.
So first question, when somebody first moves to this area, what do you think that they think it's all about?
I mean, it's just a unique culture here. It's historic, it's very different. It's like nowhere else. You just mentioned New York and the Northeast. This is the Lowcountry, and it's very different. And so we found that that's what we love about it. It's unique. The history here, phenomenal. The food is phenomenal. So we just really enjoy living here and sharing it with others.
And I think to answer your question, I think most people think of this area as the beach.
Yeah.
And although the beaches are fantastic here, there is so much more to the Lowcountry than just the beaches. Like Lynn said, there's history, there's so much culture. The history is really what blows me away. The food, the Lowcountry specialties, it's really more than just beach and golf.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think about beach, but for me, my personal favorite thing here is the rivers and the boating. Like, I just think that it's the most beautiful area when you're out over the salt marshes and the Spartina grass. And one time I took a helicopter out to Monkey Island and we were like flying over, you know, everything out past Beaufort. And it's just one of the most beautiful sceneries you've ever seen.
And a great way to see it is on the water, by kayak, by stand-up paddleboard, by boat, and there's just never ending.
So newcomers, what do you think they maybe misunderstand about this area?
That's a great question. I think probably one of the biggest things is that it's so different from anywhere else in the country and really in the world as far as the combination of history and the water that you were speaking about. So I think there's a bit of, sometimes people think, oh, it's the South.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think people think they're like,
Deliverance.
yeah, like are there hillbillies down there? Or a lot of times I get people that worry about, like, is everybody, am I going to fit in here? You know, if they're coming from New York or New Jersey or California or wherever, they're going to worry, like, are these Southern folks going to accept me into their culture?
The South, they're very friendly and accepting culture, but we've been a lot of places in the Lowcountry, Bluffton, Hilton Head Island, and folks that have moved here from the Northeast have been blown away by how friendly folks are and how quickly they become part of the culture. We hear that time and time again when we speak to groups that mostly have moved here.
So if somebody moves here from one of those areas, and let's just say they don't pick up a copy of your book and they don't do anything that's in your book and they just stay in their comfort zone, what's their life going to be like if they do nothing?
might as well have not come here. There's just so much to do. And so I think that's sort of the key to get out of the comfort zone a little bit. It's amazing how we talk to people here that say, I'd always been interested in X, and being in the Lowcountry has allowed me to buy a boat or to go kayaking for the very first time, or to eat shrimp and grits, or a raw oyster. There are so many things that can pursue, and our book just gives folks ideas for that.
So do you think that there's a lot of people that move here with a dream but never really experience it?
Well, hopefully not. I think that more and more people are coming here saying, okay, we're going to go for it. I think the Lowcountry, we found that people are so welcoming and friendly and say, hey, come play pickleball with us, or come out to eat with us and try a raw oyster for the first time. So I think there's a lot of that here.
So what inspired you guys? Now, I did see the dedication in the book, who you dedicated to, and I'll let you talk about that. That's both of our favorite authors, but maybe there's more to it than just this guy. What inspired you guys to write this book?
Just to give you a little background, Lynn and I are travel journalists by day, and that's our day job. We've been travel journalists for 35, 40 years. We've always written about travel. Many years ago, Reedy Press, a publisher out of St. Louis, came to us and asked us to write 100 Things to Do in Charleston Before You Die, which was our first book.
Okay.
Then after the success of that, they came back to us and said, how about writing 100 Things to Do in Savannah Before You Die? We kind of live in between the two. So we did that. So the die was cast to some degree, and then we kind of thought of the idea that we now live in the Lowcountry between Charleston and Savannah, and we love it here, and we want to share that love with others. So that's really how the third of the trifecta came along.
But if people have a lot of time on their hands, they could pick up all 3 books and they could stay busy for a long time.
Oh, please do that. Yes, that would be great.
But we have really found that we didn't expect that with this book, as far as that people would go, I can get Charleston and Savannah, and we call it the trifecta.
Yeah. So when you guys were writing this book, I know who my audience is watching this right now, but who did you imagine your audience would be? Who did you picture in your mind would be picking up this book to read it?
Really, locals and tourists alike. Okay. Because we all tend to be our own worst tourist in our community. We get complacent and we don't get out and try the things that we haven't tried before. So we thought there would be a great market for the locals who have never tried stand-up paddle boarding on Broad Creek, or who have never gone to the Jazz Corner in Hilton Head, and this might expose them to those ideas. And then of course the people that were coming to the area to visit, to explore, to consider relocating. This would be a great opportunity for them to get to know the area, both by book and then to participate in some of those activities. So we see it both for residents and visitors alike. Have
you guys done all 100 things?
With Charleston and Savannah and this book, our policy was that we would do everything. That if we were going to put it in the book, we had to try it. And this was a difficult book because the Lowcountry is a wide area. Yeah. Charleston, is more compact. Savannah was more compact, but that was our policy. So there were some things that we just didn't have enough time to check out that are not in the book because we just weren't comfortable having not eaten there, or having not gone kayaking or gone to Defusky Island, for instance. We know people have written books about that include Defusky that have never taken the ferry over to Defusky, and so we were determined to do them all.
So if I hear you correctly, you guys basically just have fun for a living?
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous.
The beauty of this one is that we called it a labor of love.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, we loved the Lowcountry before writing the book, but afterward it was just, we're staying here. We love it that much.
So do you think that this is just a book about activities, or do you think that there's something deeper to it?
Definitely something deeper. We felt it from the start. Certainly activities, food, there are 5 categories in the book that we can talk about, but there is something deeper to it, and it comes back to who we dedicated it to as well. A Lowcountry author named Pat Conroy, who we talked about earlier, and that's where it becomes much deeper to me when we talk to people that moved here. I can't tell you how many times we've talked to people and they said, I moved here because I read Pat Conroy, and I fell in love with the Lowcountry before I had even stepped foot here.
Yeah, I've read most of his books, and the way he paints the picture, just the smells and the sounds and everything, you can smell the salt air. You can hear the wind blowing through the Spartina grass. Yeah. And
it gives me chills just, yeah, he was great with that.
And just the sounds of around Bay Street, imagining what it was like back in the 1950s or whatever. I mean, it's amazing.
Great.
So when a reader opens the book to the first page, what sort of invitation are they being given?
I would say it's an invitation to the table, because the first section of the book is food and drink, which is probably our favorite topic. And in the Lowcountry, everybody talks about food and drink a lot. So I would say that the invitation is to the table, and the common table where you share.
So what are some of your, speaking of tables and food, what are some of y'all's favorite Lowcountry dishes or foods?
Well, since we're sitting in Burnt Church Distillery, that is one of our favorite for food and beverage. Just the architecture of this building is worth the visit. Of course, staying for the spirits and the food is fantastic, but the building itself is just tremendous. Some of our other favorites in the area would be Hudson's Seafood on the docks in Hilton Head. Can't beat the seafood. Sitting on the water at Skull Creek, watching the sun go down, it's just spectacular. What's one of your favorites?
Another one on Hilton Head that's a little unusual is a place called Tiki Hut. You know, everybody knows it for the live music 365 days a year, but the food is also great. They're probably in the music and entertainment category, but we send people there and to the jazz corner for food all the time, even though they think it's all about the music. Let's go a little further afield. Harold's Country.
Oh yeah, I know several people that have met their future spouses at Harold.
Oh, wow.
And I have a couple of crazy Harold stories that I could share with you later. You never know who's going to show up at Harold.
Exactly.
great.
Yeah. So that's out in the middle of nowhere, as you know. And that one of the beauties of researching the book is it got us out into the Lowcountry, not just the common destinations of Hilton Head Island, Bluffton, Beaufort. That's the closest town would be Walterboro, which they call the front porch of the Lowcountry.
And be sure to go on potluck night on Thursdays to Harold's for the fried chicken. The best.
And pretty good music and dancing there too.
No question.
All right, so what are maybe some, if somebody picks up this book and they have the best of intentions, they want to live this adventurous life and experience it all, what do you think are some of the common obstacles that people face that just hold them back from really experiencing it, embracing it? You know, is it time? Is it fear? Is it, what do you think is holding folks back?
I think most of the folks that you're talking about that are moving here are probably retiring.
Yeah.
So I don't think time is a big obstacle for them. I would think it would be the fear of something new.
Yeah.
For that person that hasn't tried kayaking, for that person that hasn't tried an oyster, it can be intimidating.
They don't even know how to open them.
Well, exactly. And even when you do open them, you're like, you want me to eat? You're dubious. I think it's probably the fear of trying something unfamiliar.
Okay.
But, one of the beauties of the Lowcountry is that you have oyster roasts. And so you go in, a local will show you, this is how you open an oyster and how you eat it and what you put on it. And so I think that helps with that sort of fear of newness that a lot of locals want to share, because at one point they were new to the Lowcountry as well.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So do you think that people, if they have certain assumptions about the Lowcountry, we had talked about the beaches and the golf and the pickleball, and they think they know what they're here to do all the time. I've had over 130 people that purchased a home from elsewhere from watching this YouTube channel, and every time when I talk to them the first time on a Zoom call, I'm like, what do you imagine your life here being like? And they're like, I want to play golf, I want to play pickleball, I want to go to the beach. And that's usually the top three. So I wonder if the fact that they have these ideas pre-programmed in their head, if that in a way holds them back from the 100 plus other things that the Lowcountry has to offer.
Right. I think to a point, what we've learned in speaking to groups, and they're mostly people that have moved here, is that they check those boxes off, the golf and the beach and the pickleball, and then find they still have time and lots of other things to pursue.
Yeah.
So, or they've I don't want to play golf every day of my life, and there are so many other things to pursue down here.
Well, good deal. Were there some experiences in your book that you think maybe even some longtime locals might not know about?
That's a great question, because one of the things that I think we came away from our research was the unbelievable breadth of history here in the area, starting from the antebellum period through the Civil War, through Reconstruction, through the Gullah heritage. Honestly, so much of America's history happened here. And I don't think people that are coming here to go to the beach or play golf are really aware of that. Honestly, we were not. We were blown away by the amount of history that came to light in our research that happened here. And I think most people aren't aware of that. And when they get here, then they have the opportunity to experience some of these things and go to some of these historical places. They're going to be blown away.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also like a subculture of like treasure hunters down here. I've got a neighbor that he goes out with his metal detector, and he's got an entire room of his house dedicated to like things that he's found. He's got cannonballs and pins, and I mean, just all kinds of things from Civil War, from Revolutionary War. I mean, it's pretty cool.
And all that history transcends into other things if you're an architectural buff. The architecture of this area from the Civil War through the Gullah heritage is so robust. So it isn't just necessarily the history, but even the tertiary things around that history, like treasure hunting, like architecture.
So I've made quite a few videos about Gullah heritage and Gullah culture, but maybe the person watching this right now, this is the first video that they've stumbled across. Can you just explain to them what is Gullah heritage, or what are the Gullah folks? Who are the Gullah folks?
Well, friendly, to say the least, and great cooks as well. Basically, they're formerly enslaved people, the descendants of the formerly enslaved people that developed their own culture after the Civil War. There's this place on St. Helena Island called Penn Center, which is the epicenter of the Gullah culture. And that's where the formerly enslaved peoples went for education after the Civil War. And it's gone from there. And there's just an incredible lineage of people and places. Hilton Head Island has Mitchellville, which was established after the Civil War. Defusky is an unbelievable destination. That's where Pat Conroy taught for a couple of years and wrote the book, The Water is Wide. Here in Bluffton now, Gullah Cultural Heritage Center. I always get it. I think that's right. Yeah. It just opened, and it's open to rave reviews. So almost every part of the Lowcountry you can experience Gullah history. And it shouldn't have been, but it was a surprise to us as well. It really was.
And they actually had like their own language as well.
Yes.
So it was kind of a mashup of, I don't know what it was all a combination of, but I went to the Gullah Heritage Festival out at St. Helena, and they had these Gullah storytellers that were speaking in the Gullah language. It was incredible.
They were kind of sequestered to themselves, the enslaved people, and they did form their own language, and they had their own foods, and they had their own cultures and traditions. And when the plantation owners fled, when the Civil War started, they were left back here, and they were left to their own devices. So their communities flourished, speaking those languages, eating those foods, having those traditions, and the descendants today have maintained that within their own community. And it's fascinating to go to something like a Gullah festival and watch them speaking the language. They all know what they're saying. They all have the same traditions and customs. It's really amazing.
Beautiful artwork as well. Beautiful artwork, and there's entire books of like Gullah artists that you can pick up out in St. Helena that are incredible. Yep. So if somebody was coming here, let's say just for one weekend, what would you pick for them out of the book?
Well, fortunately, the book is separated into 5 different categories, like Lynn mentioned: food and beverage, music and entertainment, sports and recreation, history and culture, and shopping and fashion. So first you want to start with where your interests lie.
Okay.
If you're a history buff, if you're an outdoors enthusiast, if you just want to shop till you drop. So you can narrow into the book based on your interests. And at the back of the book, there's activities by season, so depending upon what time of year you're coming here, or itineraries, suggested itineraries based on history buffs, couples, families, whatever, category might be of interest to you. So that's the first way to kind of narrow down on how to use the book.
All right. So just shot in the dark, let's say Tim, who's running the camera right now, he's from New York, and let's say he's a single guy, never been here before, and you had to pick 3 activities for him. What would you pick?
Tiki Hut.
Tiki Hut would definitely be up there. I would say Burnt Church would be another good one because you get to meet locals. Yeah. And gosh, we're talking mostly, that type of place. But we had never been to the Jazz Corner on Hilton Head Island until we started researching the book. And everyone, whether they had just moved here or had been here for 25 years, said the Jazz Corner has to be in there. And what blew us away, I mentioned earlier, the food, the friendliness, and the musical acts that they get there. And it's also a great place to meet locals, to meet folks, just like here at Burnt Church and Tiki Hut.
And I would go to I would go to outside Hilton Head and rent a kayak or rent a stand-up paddleboard or book a boat tour, because there's really no better way to see this area than by the water.
100% agree. Okay, a couple of last questions. We're getting to the tail end. So why do you think that, well, I guess that one is sort of relates to what we already said, but why do you think people are hesitating to engage in the region when they chose to move here?
I'm not sure it's really happening as much anymore because I think there are so many folks that are what we call come-heres.
Yeah.
They're just starting to go, wow, this is pretty interesting, and there's so many things to possibly pursue. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to like until you get here, and then you're like, oh wow, this paddling is unbelievable, or pickleball, or whatever that may be.
I think the key is to come here with an open mind.
Yeah, it's kind of like I have 3 kids, and they say, I don't want that, I don't like that, and I'll be like, you don't know unless you try it, you know? Okay, this is kind of a deep question. So philosophically speaking, do you think a place is responsible for giving someone meaning, or do you think that the individual is responsible for engaging in the place that they've chosen to live?
I think it is both. The responsibility lies on both. I think our community needs to always be offering new and different things to do, creating an infrastructure where there are places to go, things to do, attractions to experience. But I do think it's the responsibility of the person to be open-minded, trying new things, getting out of their comfort zone, exploring, just getting in the car and driving around. Or I think if responsibility falls on both. How about you?
Ditto.
Ditto. Okay. All right, so last question, and again, thank you so much for taking your time to do this. When somebody truly embraces the Lowcountry, and let's say they do everything in your book, how does that transformation ripple out and affect their other relationships in life, whether it's with their spouse, their kids, their friends, their community? How do you think embracing and doing these activities is going to change them and the people around them?
Happy wife, happy life.
I've never heard that. I'm kidding.
But I think it is that the happiness just, we see it all the time in Beaufort, the village, we call it, the community that you build here, and you're just happier and thus more open to enjoy things.
We are amazed when we run into people in Beaufort who are relatively newcomers, and we've been here for 8 years, so we're not lifelong Beaufortonians or Lowcountry folks, but we are blown away by the people that say, this place is just magical, and the people are so nice. Is this real? And are so surprised in how well they're received and enveloped by the community. We see it all the time, and we feel the same way. Sometimes I'm not sure we should be telling so many people about this place because I'm not sure we want to share. Yeah. It really is a magical spot, and we seem to share that sentiment with many others. So
sounds good. Well, this is our challenge to you. If you want to get a copy of this book, where do they find that?
The book is available on our website, which is seldoninc.com. It's also available online at all the bookstores, Amazon, and it's found in lots of retailers in Beaufort, Hilton Head, Bluffton. It really is widely available, and just let us know if you'd like a signed copy.
And I've got a big box coming, so I actually ordered a huge box of these from these guys, and so I'm going to be giving these to all my clients when they move here, so they have sort of a jumping off point. But thank you again. Any last words that you want to share with the person?
Thanks for having us. You can tell we love talking about the Lowcountry. It truly is love affair with the Lowcountry. And for those books, we'd love to sign them for the folks that you're going to give them to.
That'd be awesome. Well, thank you guys. It was a pleasure meeting you, and hopefully they'll get to meet you at some point, but if not, they'll at least get to experience some of these adventures that you've set up.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for staying till the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that interview, and more so than that, I hope it inspired you to go out and explore the South Carolina Lowcountry and really get to know all the gems that are in this book. Of course, if I can help you find your own Lowcountry lifestyle, give me a call, send me an email, shoot me a text, or you can always book a Zoom call by going to lowcountrylifestylesteam.com. As always, I hope to meet you in person at some point, but if not, I will at least see you on the next video.